Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, how was the weekend, children? How was the weekend? Enjoyed? No, not weekend. Sorry, I could just say holiday. Yesterday. Whose assembly turn it is? Now? Whose assembly turn? Which roll number we have reached? Anybody knows? Is it? Just let me know if it is audible to you. Okay?
Yes, it's audible, ma'am.
It's audible? Okay.
Let our hearts unite, let our minds be free to discover ourselves and what we wish to be. With our own hands, we shape our destiny. We salute our roots as we turn a new page to become the angels of this great new age. The future is wonderful. We shall rise and see. With our own hands, we shape our destiny. With the lessons of life, we fill our daily cups. Let the tough times teach us not to ever give up. Let wisdom be the wings that will set us free. Together at Euro School, we shape our destiny.
Pradyumna, will you take up the press for today?
Your hand. Kindly join your hand, bow down your head, and repeat the prayer after me. From all that lives
From all that lives
below the skies,
Below the skies,
let faith and hope
let faith and hope
and joy arise.
and joy arise.
Let beauty, truth,
Let beauty, truth,
and good be sung
and peace come
through every land
to every land
by everyone.
by everyone.
Good morning,
Morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning. Good morning. All right. So
Ma'am, I
let's
have the
begin.
thought ready.
Okay, go
Ma'am,
ahead.
I also.
Okay. Yes, Bhavya.
Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded.
Okay. Repeat.
Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts. Isn't it? That's too beautiful. Very good, Bhavya. Very good. Okay. Somebody else also said they also wanted to share something.
Even I have. Ma'am, I also have a thought.
Okay. So maybe tomorrow we can do each thought a day. Yes. News, anybody would like to show? Actually, it is Ira's turn. Ira, it is your roll number. But since you were not prepared, anybody else who would like to share the news? Ira, tomorrow, be prepared. Your roll number is what, Ira? Ira?
I think it's 8. I thought today it was Bhavya's or Aisha's.
No, Bhavya completed her turn. Na? So it is roll number 8. Then after Ira, it is roll number 9. Be prepared. Okay. Who's roll number 9?
Mishti.
Mishti. Yes. Be prepared. And Ira, tomorrow, like not tomorrow, Monday will be your turn, assembly turn. Okay. Tuesday, Mishti. So children, since you all know your roll numbers, be prepared for the assembly according to your roll numbers. All right. I am sharing the screen with you. So let's begin. We were here. Yeah, I remember we had completed Alauddin Khilgi. Yes, students. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Expansion and conquest. I had completed this as well. You all
No,
remember?
ma'am. Ma'am, we completed till South and we have to start Mongols.
Yeah, we have completed till here. We will start from the next. But we have completed the first page, right? I remember asking
Yes,
you all to underline the numbers of attacks he had done. Remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then I remember I just started and told you all that it was Ramchandra. He also attacked Ramchandra Yadav, who was the ruler of Devagiri in the year 1307, right? Till here we had
Yes, ma'am.
completed. Yes.
Ma'am, we completed both of these pages. We have to start with Mongols.
Yes. So, no, I just wanted to revise before we go on to the next page that do you all remember after this, we also come to know or we have also studied that he was the first ruler from the North India who had extended his kingdom to the south of river Narmada, isn't it? And then since he was in northern India, how is he going to do the administration till the south, the territories which he had just expanded? And for that purpose, whom did he appoint? Who remembers? He appointed,
Feudatories.
very good, he appointed feudatories. What was the work of these feudatories, children?
To keep collecting annual tributes.
Very good. They kept sending annual tributes to him from the south. Okay, this was Alauddin Khilji. Next is Mongols. Now let's see what else did he do to deal with the Mongols. As we all know, or we have been like seeing this, all the ruler, each and every ruler, they were afraid of the Mongols attack, isn't it, children? Yes, like we had seen Jalaluddin Khilji. What did he do? He only tried to safeguard and protect his territory from Mongols' attack. Now let's see what did Alauddin Khilji do to protect his territory. All right. I hope everybody is having their textbooks open with them.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The Mongols invaded 5 times during the reign of Alauddin, but he succeeded in curbing and suppressing them every time with the help of his vigilant army. Okay, so during the time of Alauddin Khilji, the Mongols invaded his territories almost how many times? 5 times. All right. Now, but then he was able to, suppress the Mongols every time they were attacking his territory. Why? The only reason was Alauddin Khilji had maintained a vigilant army. Okay, so let's see what things did he do to prevent his territory from further attacks. The first thing which he did was he built new forts and repaired the old ones. Okay, this was the important task which he did. What did he do? He built new forts and repaired the old ones. Next, he maintained huge army. Okay, meaning his army was always ready for any attack, or they were always alert for the war. Okay, next, tortured the defeated Mongol leaders by trampling them under the feet of elephants. Okay, not just that. See, now you all know that he protected the Mongols uh, from when they were attacking his territory 5 times. So, why? Because of the army. So, in that process, whichever Mongol leader he had captured, what did he do to them? He tortured them. How did he torture them, children? By trapping them under the feet of elephants.
Elephant.
Yes. He massacred and killed any Mongol who had settled in Delhi before his reign. That means if there was any Mongol living in his territory before he became the king, what did he do? He killed them. Okay, before he coming to the throne, whichever Mongol was there, he killed them. Okay, so these were all the preventive measures which he took to control the Mongol attack in his territories. All right, the main reason was that he had a vigilant army. All right. So next is military reforms. Let's see what changes did he bring in the military system. All right. Alauddin was the first Delhi Sultan to keep a standing army. He was, underline this everyone, he had a standing army. What does standing army mean? Can anybody tell me? Guess the meaning?
They always used to be prepared.
Very good, very good. They were always ready and they were always alert for the war. Okay, and he was the only first Delhi Sultan who had maintained a standing army. This was to check and counter any Mongol attack, as well as to curb the powers of the nobles. So he had one more reason. First reason, to protect his territory from Mongol attack, and second reason was to curb the power of the nobles. Okay. Next, the nobles were no longer required to maintain armies, and so the Sultan was not dependent on them. The soldiers were paid in cash from the royal treasury. Okay, this is very important. Please underline. You remember in the previous chapter, we had seen that those kings, in order to pay these soldiers, they used to give them land grants. Do you all remember? Now, what did Alauddin do? He, instead of giving them land as their payment, he paid them in cash, okay, from the royal treasuries. Thus, the iktas were abolished. You remember the ikta system, which was introduced by whom? Let me. Who had introduced?
Iltutmish.
Very good, very good. It was Iltutmish who had introduced the ikta system, and according to the ikta system, they used to pay lands, okay, to the soldiers. But now, instead of lands, what did Alauddin do? He started paying them in cash.
But this was done by Gayasuddin.
Somebody said something.
But actually, this was introduced by Gayasuddin, right?
Yes, it was there by Gayasuddin Tughlaq also, but then he further brought changes. And if you'll see, there are many changes which was brought up by Alauddin, right? As compared to the previous ruler, Jalaluddin. Can you find the difference? Somebody's mic has been unmuted. Can you just tell me which student is that? Okay. So let's continue. I hope Simran, you understood. Pradyumna. Okay. Pradyumna, please mute. He introduced a system of branding house. See, this is very important. Please underline. He introduced a system of branding the horses. Means what? Dag. Branding means, putting a stamp on the horses, which was called as dag. Along with that, what else did he do? He maintained the list of all the soldiers and he called them as chehra. Okay, so why did he do this? The reason is he wanted to keep a track of the size and the strength of his army to avoid any fake registrations. Okay, so first of all, what does dag mean? Who will tell me? He meant,
Branding of horses.
yes, branding of horses was called dag. What does chehra mean?
Recording of soldiers.
The soldiers who maintain the list of.
He maintained the list of soldiers. Okay, he as the king had maintained the list of soldiers. Now, why did he maintain the list of soldiers?
To keep a count and a track of the size and strength of his army and to avoid any fake registrations.
Yes. Okay, got it, everyone?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
manufacture of weapons and other war materials was engaged by setting up of workshops and factories. Okay. Along with that, he also paid attention on manufacturing of weapons and other war materials. Why do you think he did this? Who will tell me why do you think he did this?
Now, so that there are enough weapons and like different types of weapons which they can use while a particular war.
Yes. And what was his aim? We had seen his aim in the beginning. What was his aim as soon as he took up the throne? What?
To make his own empire.
Correct. Very good. He wanted to establish his own empire. And if he wanted to, fulfill his target, achieve his goal, so he's working on his goals. Can you see? He's maintaining army. He's not just maintaining army. He's keeping a record of it. Along with that, he's providing them with weapons and war materials. He's strengthening his army. Isn't it? Can you see this in all the military reforms, if you will find? Yes? Have you all understood to your
Yes,
children?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? Okay, let's go on to the next page. Now we just saw the military reforms. Let's see what are the administrative reforms. Okay. So now Alauddin introduced a number of reforms in the way the empire was administered. Okay. That means he brought changes even in the administrative system. Now let us see what changes did he bring in the administrative system. First, he realized the power of the nobles wielded could be used against him. After all, it was with their help that he ascended the throne. He also ascertained the 4 reasons of rebellion. This is very important. He also, the 4 reasons of the rebellion. You will get a question on this in the behind the text. In the course book also you have a question based upon this. So first thing, what did he do to bring administrative reforms? He realized that these nobles and officers had powers, right? And he didn't want these nobles and officers to use their powers against him. Why? Because he knew that it was only through these nobles and officers who helped him to become the king. So now he didn't want these nobles to help any other person to take up his position. Okay, so the first thing what did he do is he started curbing their powers. Okay, he started suppressing them. All right, please underline. You'll have to learn these as it is. So the 4 reasons of rebellion was: number 1, the sultan's neglect of his empire; number 2, drinking of wine; number 3, unity of the nobles; and number 4, wealth of the subjects. All right, so these were the 4 reasons why he could rebel. If anybody neglects his the sultan's orders or his empire, if anybody is drinking wine, or if the nobles are uniting. All right, and the wealth of the subjects. Now we will see each of this in detail, all right, over here as the pointers. He identified the nobles as a threat, and therefore he adopted strict measures to suppress their power and influence. You remember I just told you, he didn't want the nobles to have that same power which the nobles had before he came up to throne, because he didn't want the nobles to again help any other person to take up his position. So what to do to avoid that, what did he do? He suppressed the powers and the influence of the people, of these nobles. Okay, now let's see what are the different reforms he brought up. First thing, this is important, he forbade the nobles from visiting and meeting one another. So if the nobles will not meet each other, they will definitely not plan anything against him, isn't it? So this was his first strategy to suppress their power. What else did he do? He had, laid down a rule that there will be no matrimonial alliances between them. Okay, that means a noble will not have any matrimonial noble with other noble officer or other noble family. Why?
Ma'am,
Because, yes,
ma'am, what is the meaning of matrimonial?
matrimonial is marriage alliances. That's what I'm saying. The one noble family will not marry with the other noble family, because his main intention was to keep them away. Okay, they were not allowed to meet one another. Got it?
Yes,
Bhavya
ma'am.
and everyone. Next,
Yes.
he prohibited the use of wines and any organization of parties or functions. Gambling was also banned. So these were the restrictions, he brought up in his territory, the administrative changes which he brought up. First, second thing was prohibition of wine and prohibition of any parties or functions, along with gambling. Okay, gambling was also prohibited. He established an efficient espionage system. What is an espionage system? Espionage means a practice of spying or using spies to gather military or political information. Okay, espionage means he had appointed spies in his territory. They could go and gather military and political information and help him out. So this system was, espionage system was introduced by whom? By Alauddin Khilji. Okay, please underline. He established espionage system. That means setting up the spies to keep a check on these nobles, whether they are meeting each other, whether they are discussing or visiting each other's place, or whether they are having any matrimonial alliance with each other's families. So like that, he just wanted to avoid any problems or any from these nobles. He didn't want these nobles to have the same power during his rule. Next, he confiscated all the land grants to the chief and prohibited them from imposing any taxes on the farmers. This is very important. You remember, these nobles were given land grants. So what reform, what change did he brought? He confiscated, took over all the lands which was given to the chiefs. All right, and they were also not allowed to collect any taxes which was imposed on the farmers. Okay, that means on one hand, he stopped them from meeting one another. He had kept his own spices. He also confiscated. That means the source of income also he reduced because of him. Can you make out? Because he took away their lands, and one source of income was land. He took away the land. Second source of income was the taxes which they were collecting from farmers. That was also stopped, isn't it? So these were all the administrative reforms. Now I would just like to ask here, we had studied about Alauddin Khilji before studying Jalaluddin Khilji before studying about Alauddin Khilji, right? So can you see, is there any difference between Jalaluddin Khilji and Alauddin Khilji?
Yes, ma'am.
What difference you can see?
Ma'am, Alauddin Khilji was a kind-hearted man.
Yes. Yes.
Alauddin Khilgi was.
Ma'am, he always expands. Alauddin
Yes, ma'am.
always
Jalaluddin was focusing on expansion of kingdom, whereas Jalaluddin was focusing on like peace in his own kingdom.
Or protecting his kingdom.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
That was Jalaluddin. But Alauddin Khilji, he
Ma'am,
he
yeah,
wanted
wanted to
to
expand.
expand his territory. Okay, and to expand his territory, okay, to have his own empire. These were the changes he started bringing in all the different sectors. We saw what changes he brought in military, what changes he brought in the administrative sectors. Now we'll see he brought changes even in the economic sectors. Economic means what? Related to money matters. Okay, let's see. Have you all understood the administrative reforms, children?
Yes.
Okay, let's see economic reforms. Alauddin was the first ruler to issue reforms in collection of revenue. He began assessing land revenue on the basis of the measurement of land under cultivation. This is very, very important. So he was the first ruler who changed this, revenue reforms. That means the way they were collecting revenues from the land. What did he do? He began assessing land revenue. That means he started collecting the land revenue on the basis of the measurement of the land under cultivation. Okay, so this was a change which he brought. Along with that, what did he do? You remember the previous rulers, they used to give, whenever they were happy with any of the noble or anything, they used to give them gifts and lands, right? You remember, nobles, usually the nobles had this, and they used to
Yes,
even
ma'am.
collect the revenues. So what did Alauddin do? All the lands and the grants, whichever was gifted, okay, he reclaimed, he took away those lands, okay, in the name of what? And he gave the name that Khalisa land, that is crown land. Okay, in that way he started claiming whatever lands was given to these people. He took away those lands. Next, land tank. This is also very important. Land tax was raised to 50% of the produce. Okay, that means he increased the land tax almost to 50% of the produce. Alauddin also kept a close watch on the hereditary revenue officers and abolished their privilege to collect the revenue. Like others, they were asked to pay revenue. This is also very different. You remember revenue officers were set up and they
Yes,
were
ma'am.
asked to collect the
Yes, ma'am.
revenue and all, right? But then what did he do now? He asked them also to pay the revenues. Can you see the change? The revenue officers, it was a hereditary job that the revenue officers will go and collect the land revenue. But now he abolished that. They are not going to go and collect the revenue. Instead, they are also going to pay the revenue. Isn't it? I can see Simran smiling. Yes, Simran. All right. He appointed a new department. The name of the department was Diwane okay, 1 minute. Let me first highlight it. Okay. Diwane Mustakhraj. Okay. What is this department? It is a revenue department. Okay. The name of the revenue department means was what? Diwane Mustakhraj. Okay. Now, what was this department? The officers had to measure the land, calculate the revenue, and collect it. So, what would happen in this department? Whichever officers were there in this department of revenue collection, what duties they had to do? They had to measure the land, they had to calculate how much revenue they will be collecting, and they have to go and collect the revenue. Okay. Why he had appointed a new department? Because he had appointed a new rule that he is going to collect revenue on the basis of the measurement of land under cultivation, right? If this rule is brought up, he has to appoint certain officers who will go and measure the land, who will calculate the amount of revenue and go and collect it. Okay.
Now,
For that,
but in the before point it was written and revenue officers were abolished.
yeah, revenue officers which were there, they were abolished to the with their privilege of collecting revenue. Now this was the entire new team, new department. Got it? Not the old one. The older ones had to pay now. And this, which new department he had appointed, can you see, he appointed a new department. That means all the people in this department were new and gave them this task. Okay. Next, have you all understood till here, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go on to the next page. That is market policy control. Okay, this is also very important. What did he do in the market policy control? Alauddin is most known for his market regulation policy of price control measures. In order to maintain a large army, Alauddin has to reduce the wages of the soldiers. This is very important. As we know that he had maintained army, he was focusing on army, right? So he had appointed many people as soldiers. Now, but then how is he going to give them the wages? How is he going to pay them? So he reduced their pay. Okay, now soldiers were appointed, but on low salary. But then as a ruler, since he had a lot of expectations from these soldiers, so he ensured that even if he is giving them low salary, that low salary should be sufficient to these soldiers. Okay, he ensured that. Now for that, what things did he do? Okay, what changes did he bring in the market? So that even if the soldier is getting low salary, he would be able to fulfill his needs.
Feed the family.
Yeah, feed the family. All right, just a minute. Have you all understood till here, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's see what things did he do. First thing, hence he controlled the prices of goods sold in the market. So the first thing is he fixed the price of every commodity, including grains, cloth, and cattle, so that there was a balance between demand and supply. So the first thing what he did is he fixed the prices of all the commodities, especially grains, cloth, and cattle. Third thing, prices were deliberately kept low so that everybody could afford it and they could live comfortably. Okay. Whatever prices of the goods were there, they were deliberately kept low. All right. Next, no one could hoard or store grains and sell them secretly. Okay, no person in the entire territory was allowed to store grains and to sell it secretly. Any person caught hoarding or cheating customers in prices or weights would be punished. All right, so underline this. No one was allowed to store the grains and to sell them secretly. If they do this, they were punished. Okay. Prices were not to be changed even during famine. The state would provide and distribute the grains as required. So, you know, if there were any natural disaster like famine and all, so and during those time also the prices were not supposed to be, like they were not supposed to increase the prices of the food grains. In that case, the state would distribute the grains to them. Okay, prices were not changed even during famines. Next, granaries and warehouses were set up in Delhi, which was stocked with grains to be released during famine. So, but then see here he's saying that during famine or something, the state will be providing the grains, but the state should also have the grains, right, stored with them. For example, if there's any natural disaster, from where the state is going to provide to the people. So for that purpose, it was the duty of the state to maintain the granaries and warehouses where they would store the grains with them, and they would help the people during famines. Got it?
Yes.
All right. Please underline this. It was set up in granaries and warehouses were set up in Delhi. Separate markets were established in Delhi. For example, there was a separate market for food grains, separate market for cloth, for horses, for cattle, and slaves. So he had established separate markets. All right. Now, the department that controlled the market was called Divane Riyasat. Please underline. What is Divane Riyasat? The department which is controlling the market is called as Divane Riyasat. Next, the officer in charge in this department was called as Shahanai Mandi. Mandi means what? Market. Okay, Shahanai Mandi means the officer in charge of that mandi, of that market. Okay, the intelligence officers were barracks. Please underline, this is important. Only the keywords. Intelligence officers were called as what, children?
Barracks.
Okay, with the department to control the market was called as dash.
Divane
Divine
Riyasat.
Riyasat.
And the officer in charge of this department was called as dash.
Shahanai Mandi.
Mandi.
Okay, and intelligence officers were called as dash.
Barracks.
Secret spices which he had kept in his territory were known as what? Munhiyan.
Munhian.
Okay, so I have underlined only the keywords so that you remember. Okay. These officers kept a close watch on the prices, weights, activities of the traders and merchants. So whatever rules he had laid down for the market, okay, who's going to keep a check that everybody is following that rules? It was yes, it was Munhian. They used to keep a check on whether, you know, the prices are not increased, whether anybody is, you know, cheating any customer, or they are storing the food grains with them. All trade merchants, market related activities was administered by these Munhian. Okay, they were, and that also very secretly. Okay, they kept a check on them secretly. Have you all understood the market policy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we just revise quickly what all the market policies he had introduced? What were the
Yes,
changes?
ma'am.
Any point, whichever point you remember? What were the different market policies brought up by Alauddin Khilji?
Ma'am, he fixed the price
Of every commodity. Very good.
No one could
prices.
store price. No one could
Very
store
good.
grains.
Very
prices were not to be changed even during famine. The
Ma'am,
state
very
would
good.
provide and distribute grains
No
as
one could
required.
afford or store grains. Separate markets were established.
Yes, very good, very good. And what else did
The
he do?
department controlled the market was called Divane Riyasat.
Riyasat, very
And
good.
officer that everyone can afford it.
Yes, very
Officer
good.
in charge was the Shahani Mandi.
Shahanai Mandi, yes.
And the
And
intelligence officers
Intelligence
were
of
called Barits,
Barits,
and the secret spies were Munhiya.
Munhian. Okay, good, very good. And what else he do? He had established separate markets in Delhi. He also, you know, established his own granaries and warehouses where he can store the grains. For example, if there are any famine-like situation, so he could use those grains and help the people, right, at that time. But personally, none of the people, nobody was allowed to store grains and sell them secretly. It was the state who was supposed to do it. Got it? Understood till here? Understood the market policy,
yes,
everyone?
ma'am.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
go on to art and
Ma'am.
And the
architecture.
time is up.
Time is up.
Okay, let's stop here then. We will continue in the next class. Okay? Okay, bye everyone. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Bye,
beta. Bye. Bye, all
Bye.
of you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, beta. Bye.
Ma'am.